welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VI. Last time, we fought a whole whack ton of battles and a bunch of bosses, and, well, we got out of there. This time, Setzer has taken us back to Zozo, and we're all here. So let's see what we were able to accomplish. I believe Ramu had said one of the espers that we found could be helpful in reaching out to Terra. Father. Raised in the Esper's world. The Esper world. We have control of an Esper. Something's coming through the gate. You'll notice in the Game Boy Advance translation, they've given, this guy has spoken a name referring to the character that we're controlling, Maduin, which you may also recognize, even though I didn't go over it, as one of the espers that we gained access to in the Magitech factory. Maduin is an interesting name because it's based off of like the translation or the direct here, let's see, can we put it up here? Yeah, it's Ma-Din. That's not that. Where is it? Okay, do you say the name? Okay, you don't say the name. Never mind, the Game Boy Advance translation's jumping the gun. We'll talk about this in a moment. Alright, so let's go and explore around here some places and talk to some people. There's nobody in there. Sadly, I think that's the case for most of these areas. I don't think there's a whole lot of people around here. There are no items, so don't worry about mashing buttons on things. I did it in my test run. As far as I'm aware, there are no items here. Go across this bridge and find a whole lot of nothing. It's a long, playable flashback. Hey, we found, I was going to say people, but not exactly. You're the gatekeeper, Maduin. Now, do you guys actually... there we go. Yeah, so here we have Ma-Din, which is the extent of the name that they've given to this Esper. It's apparently based on, I can't pronounce this properly, I'll put it on screen. It's the name of an Irish, the main character of an Irish folktale. And so when it was translated, as you can see, the fan translation gave it the name Maydeen, or Madin. This is the same name given to the Eidolon from Final Fantasy IX. I would guess that the reference is the same in both cases, and they just have translated it different in each game. But, interesting little note there. Strong winds. Now, apparently this is incorrect. It's not winds, it's more storm that they're worried about, not necessarily just a strong wind. I guess winds are often associated with storms, but storm would be a little more accurate. As you can see, there's a bunch of these little caves here. Hello. This evening is an ill omen. Seems like there's kind of like vegetable gardens around here too. Anyway. Listen well and think clearly. It's kind of an odd line. What will you do? If you leave her here, nothing happens. So, we must. One of the things about this whole sequence is it's a really cool exploration of the backstory of one of our characters. There's a human here. She must have wandered in from the other world by mistake. It's really interesting that we get to experience this. However, the translation in the SNES version for this part of the game is, so I'm not mean, bad. Very bad. I could come up with a lot more creative ways of saying it, but it doesn't need the extra time. It's just not a very good translation. There's a lot of things that are mistranslated and awkward around here. And, well, we're about to get into the first of them. You're an Esper. What's that pendant around your neck? Why are you talking about a pendant? So yeah, I think that's already screwed up, because I'm pretty sure she had the pendant around her neck and she was wondering what it was, instead of saying, oh, what's the pendant around your neck, referring to the Esper. Because that's the only thing that makes any sense. Unless now he's giving it to her for some reason. Anyway, regardless, yeah, it's all kind of weird. The Esper world. Boy, did I take the low road or what? Not the thing I would say about the people who have rescued you, but okay. Everyone is at a loss to how you, a human, could have made it into our world. Here is where it starts. According to the SNES version, the Esper is saying, I'm Madeline, which we know is his name. I tired living in the human world. One, the sentence structure is a little off. Two, if you look over the Game Boy Advance translation, it's not the Esper speaking here. And I don't know why they associated this line with Madeline, considering it's not his line. This is Madeline's line. My name is Madeline, who is sick of living in the human world. It's nothing but a vortex of greed and hate. So I wandered into the storm, and before I knew it, I was here. You get a lot better sense of what's going on from the Game Boy Advance translation. Are humans and Espers truly so different? Here's the next thing. As you can see by the SNES version, they've given Madeline, which is a perfectly good name, a different name. I don't know why they changed her name to Madonna. I don't have words. Like, I know they change names sometimes, but why would you want to associate, like this came out in, the mid-90s. Pop and Madonna, the pop star, was probably big at the time. Maybe Woolsey was a fan or something. I don't know. But why would you change her name? Because Madeline is a more than normal, name in the West anyway. And that's pretty much the name that we've gotten here. Are you going to let me show the whole thing? No. Yeah, Madori. Yeah, Nay, new, one of the two. I haven't got a chance to working on my characters lately, but the idea here is like the name Madeline is a lot closer to the Japanese than Madonna is. I'm not sure why they went with it. It just seems weird to me. Because many people seeing this are probably, like the English version, are probably familiar with Madonna. As far as I know, there's not nearly as many, or at least as ubiquitously famous people named Madeline. Of course, now, in 2021, reminds me of Celeste, but that's working backwards. I'll return to my world tomorrow. Someone can show you the way. The human already left. I wonder if she'll be alright without a guide. So yeah, the line here just doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this NES version. It doesn't accurately describe what's going on, and the reaction is weird because you would assume that the Elder knows this and that's being portrayed to the guy that just got out of bed. I don't think he happens to know about this ahead of time. Human girl made it all the way to the gate. Quite a while ago, apparently. The generation of humans knew about our abilities and decided they wanted to utilize our powers. Would be a terrible thing indeed, or a total disaster. You could pop down here. Let's see, is there any... I'll go talk to you because you're up here and I can see you. But other than that, I'm not going to go into every single house. Hey, come back here. Why has this happened now after all these years? No human has wandered into our world. Why has this happened now? Yeah, I'm not going to go inside all the houses. And I think that's pretty much all the people that are around here anyway. Youth. That's all you say? And then he gets out of the way. If you don't want to return to your world, you may stay here. Humans and espers can't be together. How do we know for sure unless we observe for ourselves? So the idea with the gift of the pendant is that, well, it's Romeo and Juliet. Again, the star-crossed lovers, apparently it was love at first sight. Because apparently, and this is very well done in my opinion, I enjoy this, they dance and that's how they procreate apparently. I've chosen a name for her. What is it? It's Terra. So yes, Terra is a cross between an esper and a human. Perhaps the only one of her kind. 2 years later. Humans, the nexus between our worlds is opened again. The wind, so odd, like 2 years ago. So yeah, again, it's this storm. I'm assuming it's probably magical in nature, but it's not explained. Something's different now. Troops have come seeking our power. Yeah, when Madeline came last time around, it wasn't a big deal. Someone came in, they seemed to accept her enough that she was able to stay here. This time, an army has come. That's bad. Now, I've fought these soldiers. They're not very strong. So I'm not sure how they were able to easily take on these creatures who have magical powers. But they never really acknowledged that. Now here, the SNES version says they've made it as far as the Elder's House, which is wrong. There is no good retreat to the Elder's House. That kind of makes more sense, considering we can see that they haven't made it to the Elder's House. They just walked in the front. And here is Gestalt. Now, an interesting note about Gestalt here is he tends to speak with we a lot. Like, we've found this, you know, we'll try and do this, we'll try and do that, we'll get this, whatever. However, apparently, according to the Game Boy Advance translation and the guy who came up with the Wonder Bar in the first place, I is probably the more accurate translation. There's not a big specificity in Japanese about between we and I and pronouns and stuff like that. So it's a little confusing to translate from what I've heard. Ancient writings told us of this world and described the awesome magical properties of these beasts. Now it's time to reap the rewards, huh? Riches to any man who captures an Esper. Terra's alright. No choice. We must do what we've been avoiding. Now, the reason why they were able to get in here in the first place kind of leads back. Like, this isn't like stated outright in any of the translations as far as I know, but it's been picked out of the Japanese text. The Espers originally lived in the normal world, and the War of the Magi happened. And then instead of going to another dimension, they found an island somewhere and sealed it off with a magical barrier. And apparently the magical storm weakened this barrier and allowed people to come in. And maybe the Empire did something specifically that allowed it to weaken more or faster or something. But yeah, they found an island, they went there, and they isolated themselves with a magical barrier. And now the Empire is getting inside the barrier. That's how they're able to get in. Like I said, it's not clear from the English translations, but it's been pieced together from the Japanese. Here's the plan. We'll cause a tempest that'll sweep all the nasty creatures out of our realm. Then we'll seal the gate, and the last of our kind able to cast this magical seal. He is the last of that bloodline. But in your state, you just might, or at your age. Yeah, I like how they've added the pass away and had someone else finish the line to get around the censorship that would have been would have prevented them from saying that otherwise. But at least we will finally be safe. I may not survive, and without me, you'll never again be able to open the gate. So more information is being portrayed again over here in the Game Boy Advance translation. Basically, she being Madonna, has lived here for the past 2 years and has raised a child here. But if this is enacted, she'll never be able to go home to the other side. The other world holds nothing for me. You have no other choice. Soon the humans will arrive? Yeah, they will get here soon enough. It's kind of awkward how they've said that. It's all because of that human girl. Sure, she helped the others find us. How? She was here the whole time. Presumably. She's one of them. Soon she'll be wearing our hide. Or, in the other translation, she'll want our power as well. Madonna took Terra to the gate. Now, this is the SNES one being blunt force trauma and telling us where to go, but the better translation is, yeah, they took Terra and left, because how would you know where she's going? But yeah, they both say the same thing. The dialogue of the NPCs around here isn't particularly interesting. It's a lot of really basic stuff telling you, it's like where you need to go. Where are you going? The duh thing is supposed to be like a sound effect, and I don't know if anyone really knows what sound they were going for with that. Anyway, Madeline is getting drawn into the next world. I've begun casting the seal. You won't be able to return. There's no turning back. The seal must be enacted now that it's begun. Now, here he says that fool. But basically, condemning Madonna, Madeline for taking the kid and, putting them both in danger. Here, in the Game Boy Advance translation, it's more along the lines of, it doesn't matter if I won't be able to come back, I want to be with my family. Look what popped out. Yeah, again, the translation's bad. It's like, we're being pushed out is the more accurate translation, which is what the Game Boy Advance had said. Just when we were in reach of a veritable bonanza. Hey! Get out of here. Nobody wants you in here. Doesn't seem to affect me, I'm just fine. I'm not like them. Will you come back home with me? Yes, of course. Terra fell. And they were both sucked out. A human woman? Whose child is this? Again, the Game Boy Advance is far more accurate. The Super Nintendo one barely even makes sense. This whole sequence is terribly translated. Please take care of my baby. What? If you look at the Game Boy Advance, leave my daughter alone. That would make sense. This guy just invaded and ruined your whole way of life. Why would you conceivably ask for him to watch over your kid? I'd rather have the wolves raise her. She must be half human and half... fascinating. She will help us realize our dream faster than we ever imagined. My dreams of building an empire may come true sooner than I'd imagined. We will own this world, or the world will be mine to rule. And with that, the gate has been erected. But presumably a few Espers were on the other side in addition to Madeline. Terra is presumably back to herself again. The product of an Esper and a human. That's where she got her powers. Unlike Celeste, she was not experimented on. She may have been, but she naturally has these powers because she's half Esper. Now I understand. finally feel I can begin to control this power of mine, which isn't exactly accurate. The Game Boy Advance actually explains this in a way that makes sense in terms of the game, but I should be okay now. I can control this power as long as I only use it for short bursts. This actually makes sense in terms of gameplay. Gestahl must have known the secret of the Esper's power back then. The Espers in the research facility must have been the ones they grabbed that day. Celeste's power came at the expense of one of them. So they can't get away with this. We have to strike back. Sabin specifically talking about blitzes in the Game Boy Advance translation. What's happening in Narsh? Should probably head back and see what's going on there. I'm not exactly sure why, but... The airship's ready. Setzer, are you on board? In the effort to save Terra, we have acquired an airship, Setzer, but lost Celeste along the way. It's an airship in a video game. You press the A button to go, you press the B button to land, you press the X button to go into the ship and mess around with your party. Press the Y button and directional button to move on weird angles. Press the start button to view the world map. Y button, use the control pad to move in all directions. Yeah, we already talked about that. L and R buttons with the control pad for high-speed turns. Not that we really need to do that in this game. And, well... we ended up with a lot of things out of this. This game also has an element called level averaging, and your characters will get re-averaged in terms of their levels as certain things occur, at like certain plot points in the game. Sure, peace is within our grasp. So we're going to switch up our party members. As you can see, some of our party members have changed in terms of level. We're going to use a whole new party for a little while, including newbies, returners, someone I haven't used in forever, and Zavin, because he's the lowest level. Everyone else is at least level 20. Let's work on everybody else here. And because you're going to be switching party members a lot by doing this, let's unequip everybody of everything. Now we can set up and do pretty much whatever we want as far as our equiption goes. Now, one thing that I will mention before we kind of do too much else, we can go back to Narsh. Actually, I think it's in my notes to go back to Narsh first, so let's go back to Narsh first. Narsh is, I think, up here. The one aspect of this game that I find just terrible is the world map. I just never remember where anything is on the world map. It's not over there. Isn't it right here? No, it's not right here. I never know where I am on the world map. Wait a minute. Yes. I found it. I found Narsh. Speaking of Narsh, originally in early drafts of the script, the Esper that we found frozen in ice was going to be Madeline. The elements of that scene still play out, and a lot of the, the connection between Terra and that Esper were originally drawn because the Esper was her father. Some of the dialogue makes a little more sense if you go about it looking at it that way, that takes place in those scenes. But, oh, I forgot to show it off. I'm going to rewind a little bit, but Yeah, the that's one aspect of that scene that's a little different. The Esper that ends up in the full release of the game is actually a different Esper. Okay, we're back, and I've rewinded to just before we go and talk to this guy to remove equipment. The reason for that is looking at the default equipment on Setzer is rather interesting. Setzer comes default with cards because he's frickin' Gambit and he's awesome. A Mithril Shield, standard for those things, a Mithril Vest, also standard, and a bandana. Now, a bandana can be used by Terra Celeste, Loch-Goth, Sabin, but not Setzer. If we unequip it, he can't equip it again. I don't know why this is the case. Now, I read somewhere, I think in a walkthrough as I was doing my research, that apparently this was a joke by the devs that were pointing out that Setzer would never wear something that, say, Locke would wear, specifically because it's part of his sprite there. He's got a bandana on. So they decided to play a joke on Setzer by forcing him, even though he's not allowed to equip the bandana, forcing him to equip it because of reasons, as like a joke or something. I don't get it, but sure. Yeah, it's just really weird. Well, whatever. We'll do it that way. So yeah, it's nice they give you an option of removing specifically characters that aren't in your party if you don't want to remove everything, giving you an easier time equipping the characters that you have. Again, Terra I'm going to work on magic for, and because I don't like Setzer's slots, I'm going to teach him magic too, since most of the time that I'm going to use, I'm not going to teach him as much magic, but I will teach him some magic, just because it'll be useful. Normally, when I don't have control of them in situations where that arises, I'll want him to use his normal attack. So I don't want to teach him too much magic, but I want to give him a couple of things so he has an option to do something other than slots, because I'm not a big fan of slots. Anyway, that's pretty much all the time we have for today. Next time, we're going to head to Narsh, and once we get there, we will be able to figure out what's going on, and then we will move on with what we're going to do next, as well as exploring pretty much the entire world, because we have a freaking airship now. That's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.